On ESPN2, you will hear a lot of our conversation about the Florida Gators winning the national championship last night, 65-63 after being down 12 points to Houston. They played horribly. The Gators did in the first half and still found a way to win. Will Richard with 14 in the first half, 18 for the game was huge. Unfortunately for Houston, they could not get a shot off on their final possession. 65-63, 19 seconds to go. They're down after a timeout, and they literally could not get a shot off. Kelvin Sampson, phenomenal coach, just was in shell shock watching the end of that game with his team just doing nothing on that final possession, sadly, for the Houston Cougars. The Gators win their third national championship on the men's basketball side. This one under Todd Golden, youngest coach since Jim Valvano to win a national championship. Golden, 39 years old, had not won an NCAA tournament game prior to this year, and now wins a national championship and has won 3 straight games in the tournament, or won 3 straight games in the tournament with being down 9 or more. Just amazing in this final 3 games. But we mentioned tomorrow, I guess, could be the Aaron Rodgers day. Pat McAfee, to his credit, has a huge event going on in Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of internet speculation that people believe, okay, Aaron Rodgers is going to show up tomorrow, and he's going to be at Pat's event because he's part of the show, and he's going to announce, hey, not only am I here for the event, I'm here to be a Steeler. Do we think this is all going on within the next 24 hours or so? And do you think, by the way, let me ask one thing. Do you think he should announce at the event or announce before and then show up to the event if that's what he's going to do?
Well, why wouldn't you just announce at the event if this is the plan? Really sell the drama and the fanfare, build it up, and then make your big announcement on TV. Aaron Rodgers' version of the decision. I hope for the Pittsburgh Steelers say, can I speak? Can I?
Remix. By the way, that's why he shouldn't do it.
Why? Because I can't speak?
No, having nothing to do with that. Not why he shouldn't do it. Why there's an option to not do it, right? Because it's not the decision. He's not LeBron in his prime right now. That's why it's like, go and show up and be a part of the event. But I would almost maybe say announce today and show up tomorrow. So it's not the decision.
But we're thinking about this through the lens of Aaron Rodgers. Wouldn't you want it to be the most impactful, the most headline-grabbing moment that you could get?
Well, if you want it to be the most impactful... With
your buddy, Pat McAfee?
Yeah, but if you want it to be the most impactful, you should have signed with them weeks ago and been in the facility with them.
But they don't seem concerned about it. Yeah. We're sitting here on the outside thinking, what are you guys doing? Why aren't you having more of a sense of urgency about this? And everything that's coming out of Pittsburgh is, we feel confident about this. You've seen Aaron Rodgers throwing to DK Metcalf. He obviously had the long visit at the facility. All signs are pointing to this getting done. But if tomorrow is not the day, I would be worried if I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, because Aaron Rodgers is somebody that's a bit unpredictable. And retirement, from everything that we've heard, is still on the table. There are reports out there that maybe he would want to wait until the draft to see what goes down with the Minnesota Vikings. If I am Pittsburgh, tomorrow better be the day, or else I'm going to start to sweat this just a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If it's not tomorrow, then when is it?
Right.
You got to know before the draft so you can have a plan on how you're going to get a quarterback that gives you more upside than Mason Rudolph. I get everything that Pittsburgh is saying about bringing him back, but the reality is that Mason Rudolph, the most games he's ever started in a season is 8. That's it. He's not a guy that you're expecting is going to start 17 games and your team end up in the playoffs. So it's either get Aaron Rodgers or it's going to be one of these quarterbacks, whether it's Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart. And I thought it was interesting what Dan Orlovsky has been saying, but he reiterated yesterday on Get Up that he thinks it's a lot closer when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart than a lot of people realize, and that there are teams, multiple teams, that love Jackson Dart. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of those teams. We know that they've done their due diligence on both of those quarterbacks. So if it's not Aaron Rodgers telling you he's coming tomorrow, then I think Pittsburgh's focus has to shift to the NFL draft.
ESPN bet, second QB drafted. Jackson Dart plus 300, Cam Ward plus 2,000, Jalen Milroe plus 1,500, Shedeur Sanders minus 600. Just something to keep in mind there in terms of, because I've been saying for weeks now, I don't necessarily expect Shedeur Sanders to go behind Jackson Dart. I'm also not writing that off. I'm also not saying it's definitely going to happen. That I could see it happening where Jackson Dart gets drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders. But back to the Rodgers part of it. So this is maybe where it's chicken and egg, where the Steelers are waiting for Rodgers, and until they get an answer for Rodgers, have to operate as if he's not on the team and thus may draft a quarterback in the first round, like Dart or Sanders or Milroe. And yet Rodgers may be sitting there saying, well, I'm not going to sign with anyone until after the draft, meaning if tomorrow is not the day during McAfee, that I'm not going to sign with anyone until after the draft because I don't want to sign up to be benched. So I don't know what they're supposed to do right now. My assumption all along has been he's on the Steelers. Like it's done deal, whatever. Like I'm saying it's trending in that direction, right? But if you just think logically, does he want to sign up for a Jordan Love situation? No. Okay. So how do you guarantee that?
At this stage, you can't. He's going into his age 42 season.
Well,
Right.
the only way you can guarantee it is if you sign with the team after the draft.
Where?
Well, that's the thing. If you're Pittsburgh, are you going to then not draft a first-round quarterback because he's threatening you?
No.
I'm not going to trust that scenario. No
Right.
way.
So my assumption is that
So you're saying that there's a very real possibility that Aaron Rodgers takes his ball and goes home?
no. My assumption is that.
Well, I mean,
he's
because
just-
that's out there
it's
too.
Not impossible.
That's out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, Max Crosby said it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago that he just doesn't envision Aaron Rodgers playing for the Steelers, and it could be a very real possibility that he decides he's going to retire.
If we get past tomorrow, then it's like we almost have no logical moment in which he was waiting for blank. In other words, this entire time, if he was waiting for the McAfee event because he's part of the show,
Yeah.
then okay. Like that's what he was waiting for. If we get past tomorrow and he doesn't sign with the Steelers, the idea of waiting for the draft is him overvaluing himself in some ways. Like, I'm sorry, if they draft Shador or Jackson Dart and you're just okay, they have a right to bench you.
Or is it illuminating the fact that he wasn't really that interested in Pittsburgh to begin with?
Which you could easily say that. It's an amazingly fair thing to say because we've said since the beginning, wait, when Mike Tomlin wants you and you don't just walk there, you were on the Jets last year. Mike Tomlin wants you and you're not signed yet? Why? And Ben Roethlisberger has come out and said he thinks he's waiting for the Vikings. That's pretty telling.
I don't know if that door is totally closed yet.
It doesn't sound like it. I'm with you on that one. It's just too much connective tissue there.
So then you guys do
don't
not
know.
expect him to sign tomorrow as part of McAfee's event.
I still do. But if he does,
Well,
Wait, now you do.
I still do.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, I do not think he's going to be a Steeler.
here's what I'll say.
Okay.
Until I know who QB2 is for Minnesota, I can't trust that they're riding with J.J. McCarthy as QB1.
Right. And they have not actually brought in a backup.
They have to. Like, Brett Rippon is not going to be your guy, right? He's just not. So you're going to go into the season with J.J. McCarthy, who couldn't get out of training camp healthy? They have to have a veteran backup there in Minnesota. Until they sign somebody, I'm always going to believe the door is ajar for Aaron Rodgers in that spot.
I can't believe we're still doing this.
I know. Well, CeCe called it. He
I
said
know. I guess I
April.
should believe you. You said it, but I mean, it's just, this has been months. Boy, he loves this, huh? He could say he doesn't, but he loves it.
He loves it.
He's in control.
He loves it.
He loves it. Yeah, he loves it. Field Yates, who is starting to look like Mel Kiper, will join us next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
NBA Thursday on
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn câu tử nha. Tượng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là gấu đỏ. Mọi người hôm nay tượng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là gấu nâu. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu tô nhé. Lấy màu nha. Tô màu xanh nhé.